Hi, Frank Turlip here. I have a question for you. Do you believe a vehicle has been repaired or calibrated safely and properly if all of the safety systems have not been tested that they operate as designed after the repair or calibration has been completed and before you return that vehicle to the consumer? Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself that question. I don't believe it, but that's your call. Now, if you're a repairer or you're an insurer, you are probably aware that in today's world, and by the way, it's only going to get worse as the vehicles become more complex. In today's world, all manufacturers have different safety systems, different nomenclatures, different descriptions. All of these safety systems operate differently, have different sensors, etc., etc. So what that means when you're repairing or when you're appraising one of these vehicles, there's really no other way to understand how to repair or how to appraise without using the repair procedures. Now, that's again talking about repairing and appraising. But there's another key process that everybody seems to forget about in terms of repairing a vehicle properly and safely. And that is a proper and documented test drive. It's this step of the repair process that everybody seems to have forgotten about. As I've told dozens of people over the last couple of years, back in the 1970s when I was a mechanic, I was doing brakes, I was doing alignments. I remember my boss telling me, hey, you repair the vehicle? Go take it for a test drive to make sure it's correct. And in today's vehicles, I just can't imagine repairing a vehicle, giving it back to the consumer without performing a proper and documented test drive to ensure that vehicle has been repaired properly and those safety systems operate as designed. So why? Why are post-calibration, post-repair test drives so important? Well, I've underlined it here on the slide. It's simple, really. It's to validate that that particular vehicle's safety systems perform as they've been designed to perform. It's that simple. Do the systems as they were designed for this vehicle, do they operate as they've been designed before I give that car back to the consumer? Very simple. Now, challenge is there isn't an easy, simple way to find the requirements of a test drive by OEM manufacturers, except in our test drive Copilot platform. You can look here on the left and on the right, you've got AccuWatch and Audi. If you look at the Audi example on the right, there are so many different systems on Audi that we could not put all of the descriptions on what to do in a test drive on one page. Here's BMW and GM. Again, test drive requirements, things to do to validate after a vehicle has been repaired or calibrated to ensure those vehicle safety systems operate as they're supposed to. Here's FCA. Here's Honda. Here's Hyundai. Here's Infiniti. Lexus and Mazda. Mercedes and Nissan. And last but not least, Subaru and Toyota. Now again, these are not readily available, easily available anywhere else but in our Test Drive Copilot platform. And if you're not, again, you're the ones repairing or appraising the vehicles. If you're not validating these systems work post-repair or post-calibration, how do you know they work? And if you think about it, the test drive today, particularly with ADAS-equipped vehicles, is really that last QA process prior to delivering that vehicle back to the consumer. How many times has a consumer come back and said, hey, the lane departure warning's not working or whatever? The point is, if you're not testing these safety systems before you deliver the vehicle, you don't know if they work or not. Typically, here's how you're performing a test drive today. You've got one person driving the car, and you're depending on that person's memory, and by the way, that person's individual knowledge of that vehicle manufacturer safety systems to validate that that vehicle was test driven correctly. Or you'll have a second person in the car who's got the tool, the diagnostic tool connected to the vehicle, and they're maybe taking notes. But at the end of the day, you're really not getting good, valid data, documented data on what happened and what operates or what doesn't operate on that vehicle. That's why we built the Test Drive Copilot platform. And by our Test Drive Copilot platform is designed really to do 5 things. Number 1, provide repairers with access to OEM-based test drive checklists as well as OEM ADAS how-to videos by vehicle make and by test drive type. It's going to provide you the ability to document every test drive, dynamic calibration, pickup, delivery, or transportation for sublet purposes. It's going to generate important documentation to support your business getting reimbursed for those test drives, dynamic calibrations, transportation, etc. Also, it's going to provide documentation to reduce your liability and to help you create a bulletproof file. And last but not least, it's going to help you implement a test drive cost and quality control management process. Our customers love the Test Drive Copilot platform. They love it, number 1, because it helps them get reimbursed. They love it, number 2, because it provides them with important documentation that you can't get anywhere else in the world. And number 3, it provides them with that documentation to reduce their liability and create that bulletproof file. But you need to implement some type of formal test drive process, particularly on these ADAS-equipped vehicles. But if you're interested in learning more about Test Drive Copilot, visit us at www.testdrivecopilot.com. Give us a call at 855-953-7483 or send us an email at sales@testdrivecopilot.com. Again, do yourself a favor. Implement a formal test drive process in your business.